Okay, some of the crystals that we come upon that, and you'll know it, when you find a special crystal, it will not only talk to you, you may actually cry. You may actually emote from it, from the experience. You may have an emotional response that you can't really explain why you had it. And the reason that is because this crystal may have been one that you actually, or that crystal, whichever one, may be one that you actually worked with in another lifetime. You were the guardian for it. We're not keepers, we're guardians, we're caretakers. They're consciousness, they're living beings. You know, they're not as we understand a living being or a conscious being to be, but they have a wisdom and a knowledge and a life to them. And their journeys are often parallel to ours. And there's certain times that we've had these tools, which was what they were tools that we worked with in healing. This happens to be a magician's wand. You can tell that it's been handled and used when you look at the base and you can see that it was rubbed, it was held, it was used. It just didn't break off somewhere and happen to have this feeling of actually been held and rubbed, used. It's been used as a tool. And this particular magician's wand is called a dragon quartz. It looks like a dragon's tail, actually, as that.
Yeah.
It sings. You can hear it ring. It's a magician's bell. Oops. Different tones, and that shows not only the purity of the crystal. It doesn't look pure from the outside because it's sort of hidden. The magic's hidden inside. It has a skin on it with hematite. If you look at it closely, you can see the hematite, the silver glow of the hematite, which even amplifies the intensity of it. But inside, it's clear. It's absolutely clear. But it's hidden within, so it holds an incredible intensity of light. This is my personal magician's wand that I use quite often when you're doing high magic. Magic isn't black; it's white. It's light magic. It's working with the elements, calling upon earth, air, fire, and water, working with your higher self. A lot of times when I work with this crystal, it's the knowledge and information I haven't been able to access, my higher self knows how to. So if I would work with this crystal and doing any kind of work in healing or global work or anything that I wanted to do were to break down barriers, to break through injustices, to remove obstacles that are in the way of positive things occurring, right? To me, this is like a lightning bolt of energy. The intention you put into the crystal is what comes out. When you're aligned with your higher self and you're in tune with your higher self's heart, your higher self's chakras, your higher self's being, and the intensity of your intention with your higher self, and the amplification of the crystal and the effect that you can use as a wand, as a way to clear blockages, to break down barriers, to eliminate injustice, that type of thing. It has that powerful effect. It's like sending a lightning bolt out, and the results speak for themselves. But this is a magician's wand, and we all have the magician within us. You know, the magical self. you know. And that magic is a beautiful thing. It's not what people would normally think is, you know, evil, devil, demon magic kind of stuff, black magic, no.
It doesn't seek to control.
Right, and that's where I was gonna go with, in the new paradigm, in Lemuria, when Lemuria decided that it was going to go back into being forgotten. We forgot about Lemuria, and anything you forget, you can remember. And Atlantis was lost. And that's why they call it the lost continent, the lost civilization. And anything that's been lost can be found. And now we're finding remnants and artifacts from Atlantis. Lemuria can only be accessed through our memory. It still exists, but it was meant to be forgotten.
Okay.
So we could remember it, we could put it back together again. Those of us who were part of Lemuria were part of the Lemurian dream, who dreamed a dream of a future had never been before, which is where we are now. We're in a new paradigm. We're in a world that's never been before. It's never occurred before in the history of the planet. Actually, in the history of all creation, the universe. We've been through the old paradigm. We've transitioned out of the old paradigm. Domination, manipulation, cause and effect, deception is how our cultures have been manipulated. Our history's been manipulated. Everything was suppressed from us as to who we are and as our true being has been programmed out of us through the consensus, through what we call the deep state or the New World Order, or those consciousnesses who want to dominate, manipulate, and deceive. Our histories have come from an ancient time, but those histories have almost repeated themselves over and over and over again. And when we came to this decision to create a world based on the combining the genetics and the wisdom and the knowledge of the best, and we spiritually and communally aligned with the dreamer within us. We all have the dreamer. The dreamers in Lemuria, the dreamers and the dream weavers, for instance, the crystal I showed you the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The dreamers and the dream weavers, for instance, as a dreamer, you would go into a community. And this particular crystal was used by a dreamer, which was the crystal would be given. That's okay, we'll do it later.
Okay.
The crystal would be given to the person, and the person would put their dream into the crystal.
Oh.
And the dream weaver would take the crystal and dream the dream that they dream, and dream the dream to come true for them. And the crystal would hold that dream, hold that information. So when the dreamer would come into a community, they would sit down with the individual, they would put their dream into the crystal, and the dreamer would go dream and dream the reality of that dreamer's or that person's dreams coming true.
Wow. Dream
weavers. So in Lemuria, we dreamed a dream of a future had never been before. Wonder what it would be like. What we dreamed that was even possible. To dream a dream of a future that's never been. To dream a dream of something that nobody's ever dreamt of before. To imagine things that are beyond our imagination and to tap into the imaginal realm. Mm-hmm. We dreamed a dream that never been before, and that dream, the return of the goddess, the return of the goddess dreaming that dream with us, has already occurred. There was There was a return of the goddess in the 90s, where some people were aware of it, was information and light was information. And all that information from a future had never been before. Still to be dreamed. It's up to us to dream our future the way we want it to be. But it's never going to be connected to the old paradigm of domination, control, manipulation, deception. And what we're seeing right now in the world is the end of that old dream, that old nightmare, that old domination, manipulation, deception in our governments and in our world in general, because it doesn't fit in the new paradigm. It was always there, but now we're in a new paradigm. We're vibrating at a total different frequency from the old paradigm. Those who embrace it are going to vibrate in it and dream futures that never been dreamed before. It's never occurred. It's pristine, it's virgin, it's open territory. And when we connect with the goddess and our higher self, we're at the cutting edge of dreaming dreams that never been dreamed.
Wow.
And as we embrace that, the frequency of that new paradigm shakes up the old paradigm, shakes it, it rattles it, because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in the new paradigm. It can't fit. If it's not based on goodness, truth, beauty, love, abundance, magic, miracles, the heartbeat of the goddess, the heartbeat of the futures never been before, it doesn't resonate at all. So anything that goes against what is, which is the new paradigm, anything that goes against it will, by the law of entropy, self-destruct. I always use the analogy like when you shake the cat box till the turds come to the top, right? Well, that's what's happening with our consciousness right now, and the human evolution and the consciousness going on this planet. This is the epicenter of the Lemurian dream. This is where it all started. This is to be on Earth and to be in this location. It has changed from that Lemurian dream and to dream that dream. It has awed all other races, all other civilizations, terrestrial and non-terrestrial. Other universes. This is the epicenter. This is the Earth. This is how special we are. And the crystals are our co-creators. They're our helpers. They're our assistants. And the more people who have crystals or working with crystals are going to resonate that frequency. Especially ones who know how to use them. And that's what's important. How do you use them? How do you work with them? And they're not just for this, they're not just for that. What is it that you bring to them that bring that information? So imagine that the crystals also are transitioning into a new paradigm. They're resonating at a different frequency too now.
Because instead of storing information, now's the time to release it. So,
right.
Yeah.
And that information that they brought, that wisdom to help us, they're like torches. They're like, give us a way to see, a way to open our awareness. You know, that's why people have a fascination for them. There's some part of them that says, you know, I want more. They love them. They want to be around them. They want to have them. They want to wear them. They want to interact with them. What they don't know is their tools to help them go and accelerate their journey.
Yeah.
And they're co-creators. And in the new paradigm, they're just part of the way we function. They hold our information and new information, new dreams, new ideas, new creativity that comes from a future it's never been. And when we tap into that frequency of a future never been, then we resonate at that frequency and the crystals amplify it. And what most people don't understand, a new paradigm is something that's not part of another paradigm. It's new. It's absolutely new. It has no history. The only history we see is a future It's against the present, in the present. It shines against the backdrop of the past, because everything we see is something that's already gone by.
Okay.
And when we tap into our future selves, and we tap into the future it's never been, then we resonate and we become something we've never been.
So how would you ask a crystal to show you how to dream this? Like, how do you dream this future?
Well,
or allow it to happen?
Well, first of all, being aware of the fact that that's where we are. It's not something that's gonna happen, it's already occurred. We've already shifted into a new paradigm. That's over. There's no gonna be and eventually we've already done that.
Okay.
We're shifted into a new paradigm. It's recognizing that we're in a new paradigm. If you have a crystal you want to work with specifically to tap in, for instance, we have future selves, we have past selves, we have parallel selves, we have future selves. You know, there's aspects of us that we can tap into and align ourselves with. And if you have a crystal that you want to work with as your crystal, that you would, for instance, this would not be a good example, but you take one face of the crystal and you program into that crystal, that face, it being your, or you can use the whole crystal, it being your future self crystal, or your new your crystal that tunes into the new paradigm.
Okay.
And if you're not sure how to tune into the new paradigm, one way is being around somebody who is. Another way is tuning into your higher self and asking your higher self to keep you in line with the new paradigm, so you don't get caught up in the old paradigm programming, the old way that we believe and understand things to be.
And you know when you're in alignment with your higher self by how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, which is why follow what makes you happy, what brings you joy, bliss. If you're not feeling happy, if you're sad or angry, don't look away.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be an emotion that needs to be felt, so you understand it. But the the thing to remember, excuse me, what you resist, you persist.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And when you resist your anger, you resist your sadness, you resist your uncomfortableness, you're actually paying attention to it. Because you're resisting it, you're pushing it away. Well, if it wasn't there, it wouldn't be there to push away, right? But when you embrace it, you don't fight it, you embrace it, you own it. Yes, I am feeling this. Yes, I own it. You embrace it. As soon as you embrace it, you can release it. And once you release it, then you make a choice to put your attention on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's when we resist it. Oh no, we can't feel that. That's bad. Or we can't feel that. That's not good. I got to look over here. But that other thing keeps coming up, right? Because what we're resisting is persisting. But when you embrace it, you own it. Emotion's the only thing that's real. Once you own it, you realize the emotion is triggered by a thought. The emotion you can't feel without thinking, or think without feeling.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So unconsciously or consciously, your attention's on that, right? When you embrace it, you own it and you can release it. And once you release it, you realize the thought was just an illusion anyway. I mean, it's an illusion. But the emotion's real. And when you embrace it, you can also see the paradox. You can see the dichotomy. You can see the contrast.
And the lessons.
Yeah, and the contrast, right? But if you're going, no, I don't want that kind of people around me. I don't want negative people. I only want positive people. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that. Now you just attracted it because you identified what it is you don't want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you say there is this out there, and I know that, and if it comes up and I embrace it and I can release it, then I can say, I want more of this. I want more of that. I want more I want more of this. I want more of the things that make me feel good. I want more of those things that make me feel free.
Yeah.
And then you actually fill that space of what it is you allowed yourself to feel and release. Make sense?
It totally does.